This module is titled Development of Mobility Control. Prior to completing this module, please complete the readings outlined in the course schedule. They are also listed here. Upon completion of this module, you should understand the development and refinement of gait during childhood, from prerequisites to mature walking, and milestones in the development of walking. When will my child walk? This may be the most common question asked of pediatric physical therapists. Walking is often the primary goal of a family, not just for the functional mobility it provides, but also because of the independence and social acceptance that accompany walking. Walking is one of the first big milestones of childhood, and it is easily visible to anyone who can see the child. Walking is a complex skill that involves the interaction of many factors, yet typically developing children learn to walk during childhood without any instruction. The majority of children learn to walk between 9 and 15 months old, with the average age of independent walking occurring at about 11 and a half months. This age doesn't refer to the ability of a child to walk across the room or over any type of surface. Rather, this is the age at which the child is able to take the first few shaky steps on a level surface. 90% of children will walk independently by age 15 months. This means that a child is not experiencing a delay in walking, less than the 10th percentile, until he is at least 15 months old. And there are many healthy, typically developing children who do not walk independently until 18 months or later. So, while walking later than 15 months may be a concern regarding motor development, it is not necessarily a red flag or an indication that there is anything wrong with the child. Although those first steps occur at about 1 year of age, it takes several years for gait to fully develop. Gait is not fully mature until approximately age 7. The years it takes for gait to develop from the early stages through full maturity just illustrates the time that it takes for motor learning to truly occur in a complex skill such as walking. So when we say that walking is mature by age 6 or 7, what is it that we really mean? What is mature gait? Gage has described the 5 attributes of mature gait, including stability and stance, sufficient foot clearance and swing, appropriate pre-positioning of the foot for initial contact, adequate step length, and energy conservation. These attributes allow for progression and adaptation, postural control, and energy efficiency, all requirements of gait, and should be present by the time gait is mature at age 7. However, the toddler just learning to take his first steps does not have these 5 attributes. Rather, he possesses only the prerequisites for gait. The prerequisites for gait include adequate motor control and central nervous system maturation, muscle activation patterns for pelvic stabilization, adequate range of motion and strength, appropriate bone structure and composition, and intact sensation. In order to take his first steps, a baby must have these prerequisites. Over time, through age 7, the child develops the attributes of mature gait. As we have discussed in a previous module, Horiza proposed 8 subsystems involved in the development of locomotion. Review these subsystems and note that each one directly relates to one of the prerequisites of gait listed here. From a systems perspective, we recognize that multiple subsystems work together for initiation and refinement of gait. Gait development can be supported or restricted by the environment. The physical therapist must understand that a loss of any of the 5 attributes of gait, resulting in gait that is atypical, comes from a failure to achieve these prerequisites for gait. However, we must also remember that when one of the 5 attributes is not present, the resulting gait pattern is the best mix of the remaining subsystems. Development of gait is influenced by neurological and biomechanical factors. It is believed that the basic neural circuitry for stepping is the central pattern generator, or CPG, located in the brainstem or spinal cord. The CPG develops early in prenatal development and organizes the timing and sequencing of stepping movements. Research has shown that fetal and infant kicking have spatiotemporal characteristics similar to adult stepping, and that infants as young as 10 days old will perform stepping on a treadmill. Although the basic circuitry for gait is present early in development, mature human stepping develops in higher neural centers. Rapid brain growth and myelination occurs from 3 to 10 months and may lead to independent upright locomotion with external and internal stimuli playing a role as well. Biomechanical factors also play a significant role in development of gait. Specifically, strength, range of motion, bone structure, and body composition all contribute to gait development. In fact, significant changes in gait often occur during periods of rapid physical growth. Perhaps one of the most famous examples of this was presented in the research of Esther Thalen. She examined typical young infants who were no longer performing reflexive stepping, but who were unable to voluntarily bear weight or step with support. Dr. Thalen found that when these babies' legs were submerged in water, stepping movements reappeared. Prior to Dr. Thalen's work, it was believed that the period of astasia abasia, meaning the absence of standing and stepping, was caused by neurological changes, that the central nervous system had developed sufficiently to suppress reflexive stepping movements located in the spinal cord, but had not yet developed the higher centers to control voluntary stepping. Dr. Thalen proved, however, that by unweighting the legs, stepping movements reappeared. Thus, the disappearance of stepping had little to do with neurological control and much more to do with the relative strength and weight of the baby's legs. In other words, the baby's legs had simply gotten too fat for them to lift. Voluntary stepping would reemerge in a month or two when babies gained sufficient strength to lift their chubby legs against gravity. Over the next several slides, we will briefly review the development of gait from the newborn period of reflexive stepping, disappearance of reflexive stepping, stepping reappearance, assisted walking, and finally, independent walking. Reflexive standing and stepping is present in the newborn, shown in the pictures on the left. By 2 months, reflexive standing and stepping have disappeared. The baby is gaining head control, but may not bear any weight when held in a standing position. By 4 months, stepping has reappeared. Postural control and extensor muscle strength continue to develop in a cephalocaudal direction. This extensor muscle strength is crucial to the development of walking, one reason that tummy time for young infants is so important. Kicking in supine works on hip flexor strength. Hip extensors are strengthened in prone, creeping, and kneeling. By 6 to 8 months, the baby begins to stand and walk with support, for example, when a caregiver is holding his or her hands. As seen in this picture, the posture of the legs during standing and walking is one of wide hip abduction and external rotation, hip flexion, bowed legs, and everted heels. Babies may begin to cruise, walking sideways while holding onto a stable object such as a coffee table, and this helps develop hip abductor strength. Most babies take their first steps between 9 and 15 months. Adequate hip extensor strength is critical for the initiation of these first steps. Standing posture at this stage of development is characterized by a wide base of support, hip abduction, flexion, and external rotation, internal tibial torsion, tibiofemoral varus, and everted heels. During early stepping, we see increased hip and knee flexion, full foot initial contact, a short stride with increased cadence, and relative foot drop during the swing phase of gait. As discussed previously, the baby's relatively large head must be controlled within the base of support. The center of mass is at the lower thoracic level, much higher than in the adult. Hip strength is inadequate to control gravitational forces during gait, which means that toddlers tend to walk by falling, using lots of co-activation in an attempt to achieve stability. Here we see an 11.5-month-old child who has been walking for just a couple of weeks. Notice the wide base of support, mid to high guard arms, and flat foot initial contact during gait. By age 18 months, the baby's gait pattern has improved significantly, as illustrated in this video of an 18-month-old child. His base of support has decreased, center of mass has descended, and overall stability has improved. Hip abduction range of motion is no longer excessive, and the tibiofemoral angle is relatively straight. This baby can easily turn, squat down, and recover with his toy. At this age, we see decreased co-contraction and increased anterior-posterior leg movement over the planted foot, with heel strike emerging by around age 2. We notice that in this baby in particular, he continues to walk on flat feet or up on his toes. This video shows typical gait for a 2.5-year-old child. Her center of mass has lowered, and heel strike is now relatively consistent. In standing, tibiofemoral valgus is noted. She is able to walk up on her toes, briefly stand on one leg, and is even beginning to run smoothly. Joint angles have matured into adult patterns by age 3, and walking velocity normalized for height is similar to adults at this age. Gait patterns are fully mature by age 6 to 7 years. At this age, femoral anteversion has decreased to almost adult values, the heel position is neutral, and the tibiofemoral angle has returned to neutral as well. The center of mass is at L3, still a bit higher than in an adult, but much lower than that of a toddler. This figure summarizes gait development from the initial stage through the elementary stage to the mature age. You can review the videos shown in the previous slides and see more videos of typical gait development by visiting the YouTube playlist I've created titled Gait Development. The link is in this slide and has been posted for you. Throughout the development and refinement of gait, gait parameters change. New walkers take short, fast steps. As infants age, step length increases while cadence decreases. Overall velocity increases while base of support decreases. This table gives an example of how selected gait parameters change from age 1 year to age 7 years. This concludes this lecture on mobility control. Once again, we'll end with the video of a laughing baby. This is one of my personal favorite laughing baby videos. Perhaps it's because I have my own sons at home. Yep.
It's over
Landon! Tell Bobby to quit farting. Tell Bobby to quit farting. Say stop it.
Did you send this to America's 22 videos? Is that our video camera?
Yeah.
I sent this to America's 22 videos. You should do that.
Hey!
Missouri would have to